Hello, dear learners. Today we shall study the topic from the subject Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetics. The topic name is Drug Transport Mechanisms across Biomembrane. This is Mr. G.D. Mehtre, Assistant Professor from Dr. Rajendra Gode College of Pharmacy, Malkapur, presenting you the presentation for the titled topic. Dear learners, learning objectives for the said topic includes understand the mechanisms of drug transport, that is, absorption of drugs across biomembrane. Upon completion, students should be able to list and describe the various drug transport processes across biomembrane. Students should be able to remember and signify characteristics of transport mechanisms of drug across biomembrane. The topic outline is as studying the different mechanisms of drug transport across biomembrane includes passive diffusion, carrier-mediated transport, which itself is subclassified as facilitated diffusion, and active transport. The next transport mechanism is pore transport, ion pair transport, electrochemical diffusion, and the last one, endocytosis. Endocytosis includes phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Now, dear learners, I would like to request you to pause this video for one minute, and think that what can be the characteristic features of enlisted drug transport mechanisms? If we think of the different drug transport mechanisms, we will come to know the basics and fundamentals of the features and characteristics of different transport processes which are used by the drugs to get transported across the biomembrane. Importantly, we shall learn about these enlisted and enumerated mechanisms. First one is passive diffusion. The passive diffusion is a transport process in which drug can be transported across the biomembrane from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. That is, the process occurs as per the concentration gradient. It is the major process for transport of majority of drugs. The passive diffusion process is well explained by Fick's law of diffusion, which states that rate of diffusion is equal to dAko by W in bracket Cgit minus C. This is divided by H, wherein D stands for diffusivity of drug, A stands for area of membrane, Ko by W is the partition coefficient of drug, Cgit minus C, it is the concentration gradient of drug concentration across biomembrane, and H is the thickness of membrane. Examples of drugs which can undergo passive diffusion transport mechanism includes drugs having low molecular weights and having high lipid solubility. The second drug transport mechanism is carrier mediated transport. As the name itself indicates, carrier mediated transport includes the role performed by endogenous carrier moieties. Carrier mediated transport is subdivided in two subclasses. One, facilitated diffusion, and second, active transport. In facilitated diffusion, we can say it is a carrier mediated transport process in which drug is transported with the help of carrier moieties from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. That is, the process occurs as per the concentration gradient. This is a downhill transport mechanism, as it does not need any energy expenditure. The examples for this facilitated diffusion includes transport of glucose and transport of vitamin B1 and B2. The second of the carrier mediated transport is active transport process. In this, drug is transported from a region of lower to higher concentration, that is, process occurs against the concentration gradient. As this is the uphill process, energy expenditure is needed, which is provided in the form of ATP molecules. This process takes the help of carrier moieties, hence is included as one of the carrier mediated processes. Examples of the drugs undergoing active transport mechanism include 5-fluorouracil and 5-bromouracil, which are transported via pyrimidine transport system. The third transport mechanism for the drugs is pore transport. It is also known as convective transport or bulk flow or filtration. In this process, drug molecules cross the biomembrane by passing through aqueous filled channels which are present in the membrane. The hydrostatic pressure is the driving force for this transport to occur. This transport mechanism favors transportation of small molecules having molecular weight up to 400 Daltons and having a size which is lesser than the diameter of pore size. Examples of drugs undergoing pore transport include highly hydrophilic and water-soluble drugs, nutrients such as sugar, and other materials such as urea. The fourth of different drug transport mechanisms is ion pair transport. It is the absorption of drugs which ionize at all pH conditions of the gastrointestinal tract. Drugs penetrate the membrane by forming reversible neutral complexes with endogenous ions. These neutral complexes, having both lipophilicity and hydrophilicity, is the crossing process. The complex diffuses from one to other side of the membrane. Examples include sulfonic acid complexes with mucin to cross the biomembrane. Fifth of the drug transport mechanisms is electrochemical diffusion. As the name itself indicates, it is permeation of ionized form of the drug across the membrane, which is dependent on potential difference or electrical gradient. The permeation of ions is highest for unionized molecules, which is comparatively lesser and comparatively higher for anions compared to cations. The process is concentration dependent, hence called as diffusion. Examples include cationic and anionic drugs. Learners, the last of the drug transport mechanisms is the process of endocytosis. It is also called as corpuscular or vesicular transport process, in which drug molecules are engulfed by the cellular uptake mechanisms. The uptake mechanism is subclassified as phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Phagocytosis involves adsorptive uptake of the solid particulate substances, so more preferably called as cell eating process, and pinocytosis involves uptake of fluid or liquid solute, hence better way called as cell drinking process. Examples of endocytosis includes transport of protein molecules and orally administered vaccines. Dear learners, thank you for patient listening and learning. Hope you enjoy the presentation.